over in Matthew 19 and verse 21. There was a young guy. He was rich and he came to Jesus. He called him a rich young ruler. The young man said to Jesus, "I've kept all the commandments from my youth. What do I still lack?" It's interesting because he'd been a religious man and he lived a good moral life and he felt like he'd done his religious duty. But when you really put this guy on the spot, he felt in his heart that there was something incredibly lacking in his life. What he was feeling was a call to surrender more. He'd given so much to Jesus, but there was so much more Jesus wanted. Is God wanting more of you? And maybe like the rich young ruler, you've lived a great life. You've been a great mum and a great dad and you've worked hard all your days and you've always done what was right. But is God wanting more of you? Do you feel a lack? Do you know that there's things that you have not surrendered yet? And this young man, almost crying, says, "Then what do I still lack? What can I do, Jesus, to fill this emptiness? Because I've done all that my mind tells me to do, but I know that I'm not cutting it. What do I lack? Explain it to me, Jesus." And Jesus says, if you want to be perfect, if you want to go deeper, if you want to get it right, if you want to break free from the shackles that hold you, if you want to step out of bondage, if you want to experience joy and freedom and release in your life, if you want to step to another level, and go and sell what you have and give it to the poor, and you'll have treasure in heaven, and then come and follow me. When the young man heard that saying, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions. Jesus, you can't have my money. Jesus, you can't have my livestock. Jesus, you can't have my land, and you cannot have my family. Jesus, I'll do good and I'll do right, but you can't ask that of me. And he went away sorrowful. Who's sorrowful? Who feels sorrow when you come into the presence of God and you feel the sense of the Spirit of God and you know that Jesus is present and His blessings there, but a part of you feels sorrowful? Because in your heart you're saying, God, I know you see it all, and you know that there's a part of me that I've never given. We're the poor because of it. Level with me. If he had given all his money and all his lands and followed Jesus, would he have missed out? Would he have died a broken, sorrowful man, poor, beaten up? King David said, I've seen a lot of things in my life, but I've never seen the righteous man begging. We don't trust Jesus. Not like we should.
Welcome to Times of Refreshing from sunny OC, California. Times of Refreshing is a Bible teaching ministry of Pastor Bill Crouch. For further information on Times of Refreshing, visit timesofrefreshing.org or email info@timesofrefreshing.org. And now, here's Pastor Bill as he teaches his current series, The Life of Joseph.
Hi, I'm Pastor Bill Crouch. This is Times of Refreshing, and I'm so pleased that you're here today. We're really excited about the way the Times of Refreshing family is growing around the world. This ministry is bringing refreshing to many people. Times of Refreshing. It makes me think of the words of Jesus that not even a glass of water could be given in His name without a reward. And this ministry, Times of Refreshing, is taking a glass of water around the world to thirsty people to bring refreshing. This is a ministry that is your ministry. We want you to join in this ministry of taking a glass of water to refresh people. Times of Refreshing, that's what we're about. But we just don't want you to be a listening partner. Would you pray also about being a financial partner? Give us a glass of water so that we can refresh others. And we would appreciate just a monthly gift, whatever you can afford, but really pray about joining with us so we can grow our radio ministry, grow our publication ministry, and just do more month by month. This is an exciting time to be a Christian and to get the word of Jesus Christ around the world and to refresh people.
So here's Joseph. trying his best to provide for his family and his loved ones, and in fact for the entire land, because he was called to save Egypt, to save all of Israel. And he's very wise in putting aside grain for these 7 bad years of famine. It says in verse 13 of chapter 47, "Now there was no bread in all the land, for the famine was very severe, so that the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan languished because of the famine. And Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan." In other words, the people bought their money to buy grain until there was no money left in the land. He gathered up all the money for the grain which they brought, and Joseph brought the money to Pharaoh's house. So when the money had failed in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came to Joseph, and they said, "Give us bread, for why should we die in your presence, for now the money's failed?" In other words, we're starving, we need grain, we need bread, we haven't got any money, but why should we die? Please help us. Joseph said, "Give me your livestock, and I'll give you bread for your livestock if your money's gone." So they brought livestock to Joseph, and Joseph gave them bread in exchange for their horses and their flocks and the cattle and the herds and the donkeys. He fed them with bread in exchange for all their livestock that year. When that year had ended, they came to him again the next year, and they said, "We won't hide from you that our money is gone, my lord, also that our herds of livestock, they're gone. There's nothing left in the sight of my lord but our bodies and our land. But why should we die before your eyes? Buy us and buy our land for bread, and we and our land will be servants of Pharaoh. Give us seed that we may live and not die, that the land may not be desolate." So Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh. So the land became Pharaoh's. And as a people, he moved them into the cities, obviously so he could feed them very easily in the cities. They congregated together from one end of the borders of Egypt to the other. Then Joseph said to the people, "Indeed, I have bought you and your land this day for Pharaoh. Here is seed for you. You shall sow the land. It shall come to pass in the harvest that you shall give 1/5 to Pharaoh. 4/5 shall be your own as seed for the field and for your food, for those of your household, and food for your little ones." So they said, "You have saved our lives. Let us find favour in the sight of my Lord, and we will be Pharaoh's servants." At first sight, we think we're just reading history, and we are. But when we read this scripture, there's so much profound spiritual truth that if we gloss over it and we miss it, we're poorer because of it. In fact, this whole chapter talks to us about the surrendered life. The surrendered life. You see, Jesus, in doing all that he has done for us to give us his body and his blood, in dying for us, in calling us to be part of his family, is asking for a response from us. Paul said in chapter 12 of Romans, "I beseech you therefore, brethren, present yourselves to God, a living sacrifice. Bring your bodies, bring everything that you are and have and give to him." You know the problem we have? We don't want to give him anything. We want to take whatever we need from Jesus, and we'll take salvation, and we'll take answered prayer, and we'll take everything that's good. But when he calls for us to sacrifice something to him, we hold on and we say, it's mine. Notice in this story that Joseph lets the people come to him. He doesn't take the initiative and go to them and say, "Look, here's a whole lot of food for you, here's a whole lot of grain." He waits until they're so strapped and so hurting and so starving that finally they humble their hearts enough that they come and fall down before him and say, "Help us, why should we die?" And the truth is that you and I are the same. Jesus is always there wanting to bless us. He's always there wanting to do something incredible in our lives. But you know what? Instead of coming to him when we should, we wait until things become so desperate that we finally get to the point where we humble ourselves and come and we surrender a little bit more of ourselves. I think back over my Christian life and I see points where the Lord's dealt with my heart and I've surrendered more of my life to him. I wish I could say that I just gave it all up front. It doesn't work like that. It hasn't worked like that in your life either. Over a period of time, you've given him a little bit more of your heart and a little bit more. And very often it's been at crisis points where you haven't had anywhere else to go. But through the pain and the suffering and the situations of your life, the situations that Jesus didn't cause, but he will use them for his glory. You've got so low at times that you've come and you fell down before him. You say, well, okay, Lord, why should I die? You can have this part of me, my livestock. Okay, you got my money, you got my livestock. There's the land and there's the family and there's everything else. What is God asking you to give him today? What is it that you have been struggling with, that you have refused to give him, maybe for years and years and years? And he is saying, if you are going to live and prosper and become the person I have saved you to be, will you let go? Will you give up? Will you give that part of who you are to me? We are stubborn people because we want to keep ownership. We want to hold on. Of course, that's the dumbest thing we can do, because everything we have has come to us from him. Everything we have, all our blessings, every good and perfect gift comes from heaven above. Why should we think that we've gotten it for ourselves because of our cleverness, because we did great in a job interview or something? Sure, we did great because he blessed us. Sure, we got the job because he blessed us. We shouldn't be taking the credit. If we realise that the credit is not ours to take, then we'll be more free in coming and saying, Lord, I know I'm nothing, I've got nothing, but I want you to have all of me. One of the biggest struggles I had was years ago when feeling called to come to America, not just visiting, but God called Leonie and I to come here for good. But boy, it took me a while to get to that point, because I love America, but I was born in Australia. And I thought, am I ready to give up my land? Not only that, am I ready to give up my family? Struggled with it. Took me a while. I'm at the point now where I say, oh, thank you, Jesus. What God's done in my life and blessing Leonie and I, just because we got to the point where we would sacrifice and trust him, and we stepped into blessing that we had no idea about. Getting to the point of saying, okay, Lord, now you can have that part of me. Now you can have that part of me. I don't know what's ahead, but okay, I'll give you that as well. And Jesus never once demanded anything. He waits for us to come to him. Say, okay, Lord, I give up. He's wanting more of you. Why? Because he wants to lord it over you? No, so he can bless you. He will only work with what's been sanctified and set apart for him. There's a real progression here. Their money, that's a good place to start. Sometimes it's hard part with our money. We try not to ever make a big thing about wanting money, because that's God's problem. This is his church and he can look after us. But it's important for you and for me. It's important to bring our offerings to God. It's important for us to say, you know what, I need money, but Lord, I need you more. It's important to say, Lord, you can have my money. Egyptians had to give a fifth. As Christians, we say, well, we'll start with a tenth. I know a lot of people don't end with a tenth, but they start with a tenth. Many of you here don't end with a tenth. But the point is, who owns our money? Jesus. We're just giving him what's already his. And we're saying to him, when we get to that point, Lord, I trust you more than I trust my money. Money can come and money can go, but you're always there. We need to start by realising that even the money we earn, he owns it all. Give your livestock. Livestock is whatever you do to support yourself. Whatever employment, whatever career goals, whatever you're doing to support yourself, that's your livestock. Can you sanctify and separate unto God your calling? Some of you are called to work in the medical field. Some of you are called to work with the sweat of your brow and the strength of your hands. That is a godly call. Never, ever, ever underestimate honest employment. The Bible says we do everything under God. Are you at the point where you can give whatever it is you do day to day by way of your work? Can you give that to him and trust him with it and even serve him through it? So it becomes for you a sacrifice, a praise offering, a gift to God. You get up in the morning and you go off to work and you're not moaning and groaning all the way, but you're saying, God, I'm doing this for you. This is my offering to you. Have my livestock. He wants to bless you in your work, prosper you and give you favour. but not if you'll hold on to it and guard it from him and say, God, you can't have any part of this. I'll have my church life over here, and here's my business life, and you can't have any part of this. I'll go to church on Sunday, but what I'm doing with my 9-to-5 job, that's my business. That's his business. He wants our money, wants our livestock, wants our bodies, wants our bodies. But we would be living sacrifices to him, holding nothing back. Over in Matthew 19 and verse 21, there was a young guy. He was rich and he came to Jesus. He called him a rich young ruler. The young man said to Jesus, I've kept all the commandments from my youth. What do I still lack? It's interesting because he'd been a religious man and he lived a good moral life and he felt like he'd done his religious duty. But when you really put this guy on the spot, he felt in his heart that there was something incredibly lacking in his life. What he was feeling was a call to surrender more. He'd given so much to Jesus, but there was so much more Jesus wanted. Is God wanting more of you? And maybe like the rich young ruler, you've lived a great life. You've been a great mum and a great dad, and you've worked hard all your days, and you've always done what was right. But is God wanting more of you? Do you feel a lack? Do you know that there's things that you have not surrendered yet? And this young man, almost crying, says, then what do I still lack? What can I do, Jesus, to fill this emptiness? Because I've done all that my mind tells me to do, but I know that I'm not cutting it. What do I lack? Explain it to me, Jesus. And Jesus says, if you want to be perfect, if you want to go deeper, if you want to get it right, if you want to break free from the shackles that hold you, if you want to step out of bondage, if you want to experience joy and freedom and release in your life, if you want to step to another level and go and sell what you have and give it to the poor, and you'll have treasure in heaven, and then come and follow me. When the young man heard that saying, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions. Jesus, you can't have my money. Jesus, you can't have my livestock. Jesus, you can't have my land, and you cannot have my family. Jesus, I'll do good and I'll do right, but you can't ask that of me. And he went away sorrowful. Who's sorrowful? Who feels sorrow when you come into the presence of God and you feel the sense of the Spirit of God and you know that Jesus is present and his blessings there, but a part of you feels sorrowful? Because in your heart you're saying, God, I know you see it all, and you know that there's a part of me that I've never given. Level with me. If he had given all his money and all his lands and followed Jesus, would he have missed out? Would he have died a broken, sorrowful man, poor, beaten up? King David said, I've seen a lot of things in my life, but I've never seen the righteous man begging. We don't trust Jesus. Not like we should. You know, Jesus said, whoever will save his life will lose it. But whoever will lose his life for my sake, he will find it. You know, after all Joseph did for his brothers, after all that he did by way of laying down his life to bless them, to give them bread, it's really interesting because in chapter 50 of Genesis, Jacob dies. Verse 15, when the brothers saw that their father was dead, they said, perhaps Joseph will hate us now and may actually repay us all the evil which we did to him. I think there's a part of us that says when bad things happen, perhaps really Jesus does hate me. Perhaps really I can't trust him. Perhaps he really doesn't care for me. That's amazing that these brothers, they just didn't trust Joseph after all he'd done. They come up with a scheme. So they sent messages to Joseph saying, before your father died, he commanded us, saying, thus you shall say to Joseph, I beg you, please forgive the trespasses of your brothers and their sin, for they did evil to you. Now please forgive the trespasses of the servants of the God of your father. And Joseph wept when they spoke to him. Why did he weep? He wept because he knew they didn't trust him. He knew that they had schemed this up so that they could get into his favour. Joseph wept because after everything, they still didn't believe that he loved them and wanted to bless them. What causes Jesus to weep? Unbelief. What breaks his heart when after doing so much for us, we just think, Jesus, you're not trustworthy. I can't trust you. If I give you this part of my life, how do I know you're just going to leave me in the lurch, high and dry? And we come up with schemes and all sorts of things because when it boils down to it, we don't trust him. That's why we don't give ourselves completely to him. And it breaks his heart. Joseph wept when they spoke to him. Then his brothers also went and fell down before his face and said, Behold, we are your servants. And Joseph said to them, Don't be afraid. I'm in the place of God. But as to you, you meant evil against me, but God meant for good in order to bring about, as it is this day, to save many people alive. Praise God, Jesus is in the business of saving people alive. Now therefore do not be afraid. I will provide for you, as your little ones. And he comforted them and he spoke kindly to them. The Spirit of God's here and he's saying to you, don't be afraid. I'll provide for you. I'll provide for your family. I'll provide for your children. I'll provide for your grandchildren. I'll provide for your livestock. I'll provide for your money. I'll provide for your body. I'll provide for everything. I'll save you alive. I don't want to hurt you. I want to bless you. If you'll trust me, so don't be afraid. What is it that Jesus is wanting us to give? When you boil it down, it's because at that level of our lives, we don't trust him. And we think that if we make ourselves that vulnerable to Jesus, somehow we're going to end up getting hurt. And that's a lie from the pit of hell. And we get captive in our bondages because of unbelief and fear. Christian life has to be a life of surrender. And I know we can't give it all at once because we're not made that way. We can try. But even when we think we've given him everything, there's still more. There's still another area. There's still some sadness there. There's still areas of pride and rebellion that causes us to hold on rather than surrender. But we are called to a life of surrender. Jesus said, whoever will save his life will lose it. But whoever will lose his life for my sake, he will find it. Give it up for him.
You are listening to the teaching of Pastor Bill Crouch from Sunny OC, California. For further information on Times of Refreshing Ministries, visit timesofrefreshing.org or email info@timesofrefreshing.org. If you wish, you can call us at 1-866-98-FRESH. That's 1-866-98-37374. Or you can write to Times of Refreshing Ministries, P.O. Box 6807, Huntington Beach, California 92615. Thanks for your time today, and please let us know how this program has refreshed your life. And remember, it's your generosity that makes this program possible. Thank you. And now here's a final word of blessing from our teacher, Pastor Bill Crouch.
And now may times of refreshing be yours from the hand of God. Let his grace cover you, let his peace surround you, his love embrace you, and let his words satisfy you and make you strong. That you would be to him like a beautiful garden and like a spring that never runs dry. May you drink deeply from the river of God's blessing until the fullness of his life flows out from you like a stream of living water, with strength for your body, health for your mind, and wholeness for your spirit, until that wonderful day when at last you will stand before your Jesus and see him face to face.
We'll be waiting for you again next time for more Times of Refreshing with Pastor Bill Crouch.